Hello everyone. Welcome back once again to the online lecture series organized by BYK College of Commerce, subject English Standard 12th. Let us begin with the prose section. We are starting with On Saying Please by A.G. Gardiner, and I have separated this lesson into two parts for your convenience. So let us begin with the video. The title On Saying Please gives us a hint that the topic is related to good manners and etiquettes. It highlights the importance of social manners and etiquettes. We should actually know the importance of saying please to others. Saying sorry, please are so important things. Good manners make us a socially acceptable person. It also creates healthy relationships among individuals. Can you actually imagine a society without manners and etiquettes? No, actually not. Without proper etiquettes and manners, society would be a complete mess and we would see rude people surrounding us and they would dominate others. People would say whatever is on their minds, regardless of how trash it is. Good manners actually cost nothing. They help us appear more confident, maintain more fulfilling personal relationships, and lead to us prospering at work and generally enjoying happier and healthier lives. Now, before we start discussing other aspects of the lesson, let us talk about the writer. The writer Alfred George Gardiner was an English journalist, editor, and an author. His essays, written under the name Alpha of the Plough, are highly regarded. He started his literary career as a journalist, and at the age of 37, he was appointed editor of the Daily News. He made regular contributions to the Daily News, the Manchester Evening News, etc. His essays are uniformly elegant, graceful, and humorous. The pillars of the society, pebbles on the shore, many furrows and leaves in the wind are some of the best known writings of the writer. His uniqueness lies in his ability to teach the basic truth of life in an easy and amusing manner. He raised the question of morality in everyday life. In this particular lesson on saying please, he points out the good value of the manners and the etiquettes in social life and also emphasizes the importance of courtesy and politeness in daily behavior. He also shows how polite speech and manner sweeten the atmosphere around and how discourtesy and ill manners spoil and pollute it. Now let us discuss the theme of the lesson. The theme of the lesson is obviously the politeness, social manners, etiquettes, and all those things which are so important in our daily lives. Actually, we should be very polite with the impolite, keep our peace of mind without lowering our self respect to the level of perceived offender. Good manners are also as infectious as bad manners. Just like the sunny weather that brightens up people's spirits, good behavior also brightens up the day. If we are civil, humorous towards others, we will get the same response from others. Here, A.G. Gardiner explores the theme of courtesy and the benefits of being courteous to others. Here in this lesson, writer talks about a story of a liftman through which he explores the issue of politeness as an extremely important and indispensable feature of civil society. Politeness keeps the social life of civilized man well-oiled and friction-free. Good temper gives rise to naturally pleasant behavior. Bad temper breeds rude behavior that poisons the stream of life. Both good and bad behavior are highly infectious. The problem is that good behavior cannot be enforced by the law. This is so because the manifestation of good behavior depends on the tone of one's voice, the cast of one's lips, the expression of one's face, and such things that the law can never regulate. In this lesson on saying please, the author points out the value of good manners and courtesy in social life with the help of two stories. The first story is about a liftman, and the second story is about a bus conductor. Both the stories are very short, but the message that we get from the stories is very interesting. Now, let us begin with the actual lesson. The essay begins with the author describing an incident of a liftman who threw a passenger out of his lift. The reason was very simple. The passenger was very rude and he demanded to be taken to the top floor. The liftman just wanted a more polite request with the word please, and since the passenger refused to say please, the liftman simply threw him out of the lift. Commenting on this particular incident, Gardiner points out that the action of the liftman cannot be forgiven. He thinks so because impoliteness is not considered to be a legally punishable offense. Should a person use violence against a robber who has entered his house or against anyone who has assaulted him, the law will side with him. This is so because both robbery and assault are forbidden by the law. Well, there is no law against rude behavior. Gardiner feels that although we may feel sympathetic towards the liftman, we must agree that the law is right in not giving us the freedom to use violence against the people whose manners or expressions we do not like. If we were given such liberty, our hands would be always busy hitting people, and that would really cause a great chaos. The author says that the only penalty one has to pay for being rude or arrogant is that people will call him a rude fellow. The law, on the other hand, will protect rather than punish him. The legal system does not impose any restriction on manners, just as it does not impose any restrictions on one's personal appearance. The hurting of a person's feeling is not considered a legal case where the person who causes the hurt must be made to pay for damages. The law has no provision for defending people from moral or intellectual damages inflicted by rude people. Despite this, writer says that such damages are in no way negligible. The rude person's behavior towards the liftman was an insult to his social position. This hurts more than a kick because he may get the law to act against the one who has kicked him, and in any case, the pain of a kick soon passes away. The wound caused to one's self respect, on the other hand, does not heal so easily. Writer imagines how the liftman must have felt over the insult and how, after returning home, he must have given vent to his anger upon his wife in the evening. Bad manners easily infect people who come across it. The author gives an example from a play, The Rivals by Sheridan, to illustrate his point more clearly. In the play, Sir Anthony Absolute bullies his son, who gets annoyed and passes on his annoyance to his personal servant, who in turn goes and kicks one of the lower servants in the household. Trying to trace the root of the lift passenger's rude behavior, Gardiner guesses that the problem might have begun with the housemaid who had been rude to the cook, who as a result might have been rude to his mistress, who might have passed on her annoyance to her husband, who ultimately passed on his annoyance by being rude to the liftman. Bad manners are highly contagious and poison our life in general than the entire list of legally recognized crimes. Let us critically analyze this story, or let us introspect the, the story from different perspectives. If the passenger did not say please, the liftman would have felt very insulted, and the whole day he would keep on thinking about the incidents, and obviously he would be deeply hurt. That would be an emotional injury which is quite bigger than the physical one, and it's difficult to recover it. Maybe he would insult his wife to balance his anger as his mood is spoilt. His wife would also behave rude with the other family members as her mood is also very spoilt. So, bad behavior is contagious. So, we should be morally and ethically responsible for our behavior. You don't require any kind of law and constitution to behave well in the society. When you live in the society, courtesy and good manners should come to you by default. Thus, we can see how bad behavior can infect the entire community. We have to be very polite and courteous to the society. In fact, we have to be our own police and control our manners, since there is no such law for discourtesy. Although everybody must necessarily support the law in case of the liftman, people will definitely feel sympathy for him just because the law cannot compel us to use expressions such as please, sorry, and thank you. But that does not mean that we can just leave our customs. In fact, our customs are more sacred than the law. One such custom of civilized man is to acknowledge a service. Gardiner says that words like please and thank you are the small coins we pay on our journey through life as civilized human beings living in a civil society. So, these words help to keep cooperation between human beings on a level of friendliness and goodwill, instead of dividing us into superiors who order and inferiors who follow the orders. The author says that only a very arrogant person will order for a service which he can have by merely asking. This is so because whereas a request will provide the service with goodwill, and an order might provide the service but only with resentment and anger. So that was all about the liftman story, and we have discussed different issues, different perspectives of this story. We have tried to analyze the story from different angles. Now, let us recap the story in the form of an animated video. Enjoy watching this video. Thank you.
Liftman in a city office who threw a passenger out of his lift the other morning and was fined for the offense was undoubtedly in the wrong. It was a question of please. The complainant entering the lift said, "Top." The liftman demanded, "Top, please." And this concession being refused, he not only declined to comply with the instruction but hurled the passenger out of the lift. This, of course, was carrying a comment on manner too far. Discourtesy is not a legal offense, and it does not excuse assault and battery. If a burglar breaks into my house and I knock him down, the law will acquit me. And if I am physically assaulted, it will permit me to retaliate with reasonable violence. It does this because the burglar and my assailant have broken quite definite commands of the law, but no legal system could attempt to legislate against bad manners, or could sanction the use of violence against something which it does not itself recognize as a legally punishable offense. And whatever our sympathy with the liftman, we must admit that the law is reasonable. It would never do if we were at liberty to box people's ears because we did not like their behavior or the tone of their voices or the scowl on their faces. Our fists would never be idle, and the gutters of the city would run with blood all day. I may be as uncivil as I may please, and the law will protect me against violent retaliation. I may be haughty or boorish, and there is no penalty to pay except the penalty of being written down an ill-mannered fellow. The law does not compel me to say please or to attune my voice to other people's sensibilities any more than it says that I shall not wax my moustache or dye my hair or wear ringlets down my back. It does not recognize the laceration of our feelings as a case for compensation. There is no allowance for moral and intellectual damages in these matters, but this does not mean that the damages are negligible. It is probable that the lift man was much more acutely hurt by what he regarded as a slur upon his social standing than he would have been if he had a kick on the shins for which he could have got a legal redress. The pain of a kick on the shins soon passes away, but the pain of a wound or to our self-respect or our vanity may poison a whole day. I can imagine that lift man denied the relief of throwing the author of his wound out of the lift, brooding over the insult by the hour, and visiting it on his wife in the evening as the only way of restoring his equilibrium. For there are few things more catching than bad temper and bad manners. When Sir Anthony Absolute bullied Captain Absolute, the latter went out and bullied his man, Fag, whereupon Fag went out downstairs and kicked the page boy. Probably the man who said "top" to the lift man was really only getting back on his employer who had not said good morning to him, because he himself had been henpecked at breakfast by his wife, to whom the cook had been insolent because the housemaid had answered her back. We infect the world with our ill humours, but manners probably do more to poison the stream of the general life than all the crimes in the calendar. For one wife who gets a black eye from an otherwise good-natured husband, there are 100 who live a life of martyrdom under the shadow of a morose temper. But all the same, the law cannot become the guardian of our private manners. No decalogue could cover the vast area of offences, and no court could administer a law which governed our social civilities, our speech, the tilt of our eyebrows, and all our moods and manners. But though we are bound to endorse the verdict against the lift man, most people will have a certain sympathy with him. While it is true that there is no law that compels us to say please, there is a social practice much older and much more sacred than any law which enjoins us to be civil. And the first requirement of civility is that we should acknowledge a service. Please and thank you are the small change with which we pay our way as social beings. They are the little courtesies by which we keep the machine of life oiled and running sweetly. They put our intercourse upon the basis of a friendly cooperation and easy give and take, instead of on the basis of superiors dictating to inferiors. It is a very vulgar mind that would wish to command where he can have the service for asking, and have it with willingness and good feeling instead of resentment.